Only mode.
Hello and good morning, MYM Insiders. How's everybody doing today? That's what I thought. Doing pretty good. Okay, so this is our Insiders Open Forum, and this is a forum for you to talk to me and ask me any questions that you have on any marketing topics, and I supply, hopefully, answers for those. Now, typically what happens is people submit things before the call starts, and they submit them over to Judy, who then sends them to me, aggregates them, organizes them, and then I cover them. Unfortunately, we don't have any submissions today, so we don't have any predetermined things to talk about. But we do have two options of things that we can do. Option number one is I can take questions from you. You can ask a question by simply typing it into your questions module on your, I don't know what the thing's called, into your question thing. You can ask the question that way. Or if we don't have any questions from that, I would like to cover a topic of new movers. I would like to cover a topic of new movers, and I do see we have a question. Okay, I see. Okay, Stephanie, you're there. Let me do this. Let me see if I can find that over here real quick, because that must have been pretty last minute, which is fine, but that means that I just didn't realize it was there. So let me check. Oh, it was a while ago. That's why. Okay, let me see if I can unmute you, Stephanie. All right, Stephanie, the problem with talking to you is that you're on a voice over IP and you are not on a headphone. So when I try to unmute you, I hear a ton of feedback and stuff like that. So here's what you can do. You can either type it in, or you can dial in on a phone, or you can put a headset on, and I will talk to you about whatever it is. Let's see here. Stephanie?
Yes.
Hey, how you doing?
Good.
Thank you for being flexible on your technology today.
Now, do you want me to hang up the phone and go
Nope.
through the computer
Nope,
instead?
I can hear you just fine. Right now, whatever you're doing is working.
All right, I'm just talking into the phone.
Okay, good.
Okay. So my question, which I also want to learn about what you just said, what was the topic you were going to talk about?
New movers.
New movers, yeah, because I actually have a campaign going. So my question is, you helped me create an awesome referral program where we do the 5% up to 500 cash to the homeowner that referred us, as well as the friend or family member. They get it right off the top of their contract. I have booklets made. I mailed them out with some cookie tins last November, but it just kind of just sits there. Sales give me the excuse that they haven't earned our business yet. They don't have any referrals at the time. They don't go back out at install. So I just need to know what is the best way to utilize these booklets and a referral program for a business.
Okay, so tell me about the booklet first of all. What does the booklet say?
So it's a homeowner's referral coupon booklet. It explains the procedure of, how to get the discount or the check, the company check. It was written by you. I could read it to you, or I can email it to you.
Well, if it was written by me, I probably have it.
Okay. It says we'll pay you 5% as a purchase price of the referred person's job total up to a maximum of $500 as a thank you for your referral. Reward will be paid via company check within 30 days of job completion. We'll give your friend 5% off the purchase price of the job up to a maximum of $500. And Rich quote, we're willing to do this because we normally have to spend advertising dollars to find new customers anyway. Oh, never mind. It's on the screen.
I've got two things here. I've got that and I've got that. Is it this? Is it the first one or the second one?
This is my webpage, so that's the letter.
Okay.
So the coupon booklet I just pretty much created from all the copy.
Okay. So what you're telling me is you're using this, but it's not working. Is that right?
Yes, because I only mailed it out to the first 200 customers, and I didn't have anyone calling to say, hey, did you receive your letter? And I'm pretty sure that's the problem, but I don't have staff to do that. So I just want to know, what do you think I should do? Should I invest in more staff or
No, no, no. Definitely
what?
do not invest in more staff. And here's why. Because follow-up calling for things that are very sporadic and periodic and not consistent, it's really easy to do it via an outsourced call center. Now, there's pros and cons of that, of course. You know, do these people understand my business, and, you know, are they going to sound right? And all those things that are your natural worries about outsourcing it. We work with some companies that are good that we can refer over to you, or we can help you, you know, work through that. Dale can talk to you about that. But the advantage overwhelmingly is that you can use them on an as-needed basis. It's reasonably inexpensive, and you don't have to worry about paying them or finding something for them to do when you're not doing something like this. So that's kind of an aside. That's not what we're really here to talk about, but that's my recommendation, okay, on that particular point of this issue. Answer this question for me. You said you sent it out to 200 people, and these were 200 former customers from what time frame relative to when you sent the tins out?
I'd say 6 months prior to the letter.
Okay, you know, I don't think there's anything wrong with that. I'm not listening to that going, wow, that was really dumb. But at the same time, let's put ourselves in the shoes of the customer. Some number of months ago, 6 months ago, you came over and did some service, and now they're getting this cookie tin all of a sudden, and they're kind of looking at it going, well, that was nice. I appreciate it. There's no negative feelings at all, but it's also kind of a, well, that's kind of weird. Not in a bad way weird, not in a, wow, I can't believe they did this way, but just kind of a random feeling.
Okay.
Wow, this just sort of randomly showed up. And they're trying to put in their minds, well, why is this coming now? Let's read the letter. There's a treat. I wanted to thank you. And it just seems maybe disconnected a little bit, I think. Ideally, what you'll do is you'll send these out maybe monthly to the previous month's customers so that the timing of it doesn't have that disconnect.
Yeah, that's what our plan was, but I wanted to catch up.
Yeah, I understand, and hear me loud and clear, Stephanie. I'm not suggesting that, wow, that was a dumb idea. It's not a dumb idea. It's certainly better for them to get this 6 months after the fact than to never get it at all. So let's keep that in mind. Let's also keep this in mind. The follow-up phone call is important if you can put that in place, but here's what's really important, is understanding that most people do not have referrals on standby. They just don't. They just don't. So if you send them a tin of cookies or you don't send them a tin of cookies, that doesn't change the fact that they really don't know anybody. Now, some will, and there might be a few. I'm not suggesting that nobody will ever have any referrals. But the idea with the cookie tin is to say, hey, we appreciate your business. If we can help you in the future, and then we're putting this in their brain so that they're now more sensitive to these kinds of opportunities that naturally pop up all the time, but that they probably don't pay that close attention to if we don't tell them to pay attention to it. I mean, think about this for a second, Stephanie. Over the last, I don't know, let's say 12 months, I'm not talking about things like groceries or Tide laundry detergent. How many things have you bought from how many different places? Things that are what I would call relatively infrequent purchases, things that you don't just buy, you know, every week. Bananas, not that, but just other things like maybe getting your hair done. That's something that you might do every 6 weeks or 2 months, right? Or getting your car serviced, or you know, any number of things that it could be. You bought a new computer. You did business with MYM in the last 12 months. How many things like that have you bought in the last 12 months?
Well, I just bought some patio furniture.
Okay, and think even smaller, things that aren't necessarily as big as patio furniture. Things like maybe, I don't know, maybe you found an interesting bookstore that has, rare books or something. I'm not saying you're a rare book fan, but just anything.
Okay.
Just think about those things. Here's what I'm trying to get at. Here's the point that I'm trying to make. In the last year, you've probably bought an average of 10 to 20 of those things a month. Restaurants that you went to, and over the course of a year, it adds up to 100 or 200 or 300. And now, are you keeping track of all those different 300 things and your friends' situations that might benefit from those things? And the answer is you're not, because that's just not how we act. This is not human nature. Now, here's what is human nature. Out of those 200 or 300, some of them were bigger purchases, so they get noticed more. Some of them had better experiences, so they get noticed more. Some of them maybe had some sort of interesting, unique thing about them, so they stand out a little bit more. And those are the things that might tend to get talked about. What we're trying to do is, you're already in the category of a little bit bigger purchase, so that's good. But we want to make sure you're also in the category of interesting, differentiated, standing out. That's what the cookie tin is trying to help you do. But also part of that is just your normal business, what you do, your identity, your contractor standards, the way that you communicate with your customers before, during, and after the sale and the installation. What we're trying to do is really up the high touch factor of their experience so that it's brighter and shinier in their mind. And then this cookie tin is important because it's sort of an exclamation point at the end of this already fantastic experience that they've just had, so that now, a month or 2 or 6 or 12 or 17 months later, when they're talking to their friend, I'll bet you anything, sometime in the next 18 months, you're going to be sitting at somebody's house. They've invited you over. You went over for whatever reason, and the topic of patio furniture is going to come up somewhere in the next 18 months.
Sure.
And boom, now you're going to refer if that experience was great. So I guess here's what I'm trying to tell you. And I made this point on the Tuesday Morning Ad Clinic the other day. I don't know if you were on. You probably weren't, because there's lots of webinars and stuff. But I had this discussion that went kind of like this. There's if you look at your entire budget, marketing budget, a portion of it is going to be spent on things that are hunting, and a portion are going to be spent on things that are farming. Okay, do you remember that discussion from training? You were at live training, I'm almost sure of it, right?
I don't remember this discussion, so I don't know if I was there for that.
Well, here's how it goes. There's things that are hunting activities, and there's things that are farming activities. Hunting activities, by definition, are things that you spend money with an expectation of an immediate return. Okay, this is direct response. Hunting. So I put an ad in a magazine, and I expect that a certain number of people are going to call me, and I'm going to go out and sell a certain number of jobs. Okay, direct response. Hunting. It's like hunting, right? If you go out hunting, and if you literally needed food to eat, if you didn't catch anything, you'd be in trouble, right?
Yes.
And your budget that counts on direct response, if you don't catch anything, so to speak, with that budget, you're in trouble. Mm-hmm. If you show up at a home show and you spend, I don't know how much you spend to show up at a home show, $5,000 or something like that probably?
Yeah, about $3,500, then all the banners and everything.
You're expecting a certain number of leads and appointments and all that kind of stuff. Then there's a portion of your budget that really should be dedicated to farming, nurturing, planting seeds and nurturing them and developing them. And what you need to do is evaluate your budget right now and look at it. And it's not a right or a wrong answer. It's just an evaluation. It's just discovering the facts. What percentage of my marketing budget is currently being spent on hunting activities versus farming activities? And the idea here is to, over time, push more and more into farming and less into hunting. Now, this is something that has to, by definition, it has to be managed slowly. you can't say, oh, well, you know, I heard a guy say that we need more budget in farming, so let's start nurturing. You know, nurturing activities would be like advertising on the radio or the television, or following up your Sitno sales with postcards and emails, or finding certain areas or neighborhoods that have a need for your products or services and starting to develop a direct mail relationship with those people. These are farming activities. They take time. It's going to be a nurturing type of a scenario, okay?
That makes sense.
Also, here's what falls into that category. Referral generation falls into the nurturing category. Anytime you spend money on referral generation and you expect it to be a hunting activity, in other words, direct response, you're probably going to be let down. But that doesn't mean it's not worthwhile. It just means that you need to be realistic about your expectations. If you send out the 10 and you send out quarterly mailers and periodic emails to your customer base, you will develop referrals more than you would if you just don't do anything. I mean, everybody's going to get some referrals just for existing, right? But that's not what we're talking about. We're talking about proactively nurturing. If you have a $500 bonus, if you don't have a $500 bonus, I'm not as concerned about that. My experience, and I told you this the first time we went through this exercise, if you remember, the $500 bonus can only help. It's not going to hurt you. People are going to look at it and say, well, they're giving me $500, or they're going to pay me for this. I don't want to do it. It can only help. But I've also found that frequently it doesn't really matter that much either way.
Okay.
What I found is that the companies that generate the most referrals are the ones that blow people's socks off. I guess you blow their doors off or you knock their socks off. Knock their socks off on the front end, then give them the gift, and then continue to nurture them. You don't have to mail them every month. Every quarter is plenty. And just a postcard saying, hey, you know what, we love the fact that you did business with us. We appreciate that. And if you know anybody that would like this kind of service, identity, I mean, we'd love to talk to them. And then people are thinking about it. We're just trying to keep it top of mind so that it doesn't get lost in the pile of 9,344 things.
Okay, so you don't think I need to have someone follow up with a phone call? Hey, did you get the 10? That kind of thing.
It can only help. I would do it. It can spur some referrals.
Yeah, and I don't think if I do it once a month, maybe that's 30 of them. I can definitely have my guy do 30 calls, just not 200. You know? Yeah,
I mean, if he wants to kind of work, you know, put everybody on a 6-month rotation or something like that, that would be fine.
Mm-hmm. Okay, I think that's great. Thank you very much.
Yeah, let me tell you this just quick story, okay? I went to Hawaii for the first time in 2012 with my wife. And I'm the kind of guy that anytime I travel somewhere that's new and unique and interesting and fun, I fall in love with the place. It could be anywhere. I fall in love with places I travel to so easily. And so we went to Maui, and it was beautiful. I don't know if you've ever been there, but it was just phenomenal. And so I start talking about, like, hey, you know, I'd love to buy a house there. I'd like to get a vacation rental there. And I start giving all these stupid plans, and my wife just ignores me because she knows nothing will ever happen, right? But I like to talk because I literally fell in love with lots of places, but in the case of this story, with Maui, okay? So then I went to Maui again a year later, a little over a year later, and because I liked it so much. But I had booked the trip out in advance, and by the time it came time to go, I started having these thoughts. Yeah, we're going to go to Hawaii, and it's going to be great, but I started looking at how much it was going to cost, and I started thinking, man, do I really want to go? Do I really want to spend money to go? I know it was good. I remember I liked it, and I know I was talking all this big talk, but I don't know if I really want to go. You know, it's already booked. We're going to go. I went. And then when I got there, guess what? Oh, yeah. Now I remember why I like this place so much.
Yeah.
Now, here's what I'm trying to let you know. In 12 months, I started to doubt how much I like Maui. And I'm telling you, people just forget. They just forget. And I'll promise you this, you're not nearly as interesting and fun and as exciting as Maui is.
No, definitely not.
So, you know, we've got to really work to keep ourselves relevant to people. We do it, first of all, by having an outstanding experience. And I would have you do this, Stephanie. I know what kind of person you are. I know what kind of company you run. I know what kind of attitude you have. So what I'm about to say is right down your alley. Sit down with your husband, sit down with whoever your other important people in the company are, and look at every little piece and part of what you do on the front end, the phone calls, when you go out there, your communication, and analyze and audit how you treat your customers. I'm not suggesting you don't treat them well, but I'm asking you to look for places where you can insert something where you can really blow them away. I don't know if you're on the previous call I did earlier today. I was talking about a plumber, and the innovation idea was that they leave things cleaner than they found it, okay? Well, that's easy to say, and, you know, it's not that big of a deal. But I said, you know, they put orange booties on. Their company color is orange, so they put orange booties on. They put a drop cloth down. They do things that are visually easy to understand. Hey, this is, right, keeping my house clean. And then I said, do this. Take a little teeny card, print it out, like a little, I think they call it a tent. It's just a piece of paper folded in half so it stands up like an A. Mm-hmm. And on that card, just put, we always leave it cleaner than we found it. And just leave it on the bathroom counter where you've been working. Don't tell them, hey, I'm leaving this card. Just leave it there. So that when they come in later to look at it, they go, oh, they did. And then they look and they start looking at the area. Wow, it really is clean. It's cleaner than they found it. And see, this is just a little teeny tiny thing that allows, number one, it makes sure that the technician, he knows he's leaving this card. He knows he sure as heck better clean it up, right? Mm. And it allows the client to go, oh, yeah, it really is clean. And now I've cemented this idea in their mind. Whereas before, without talking about it on the front end and without putting the booties on and all that stuff and without putting the little card, I was just as clean as I ever was, right?
Yes.
But now they noticed it, they saw it, they experienced it, and I left the card and they went, wow, this was really awesome. And now, next time they're talking to their friend and their friend said, oh, you know, I can't go to lunch with you today because I've got a toilet problem. I've got to call a plumber. Oh, man, you need to call Acme Services. Those guys are awesome. They leave it cleaner than they found it, right? See, boom, there's the referral. Whereas without all that stuff, you call your friend, hey, let's go to lunch. Oh, you know, I've got a toilet problem. I got to get a plumber out here. Oh, okay, well, when, you know, can we go to lunch maybe tomorrow? Hmm. You see the difference?
Yes.
That's what I'm talking about right there. And it's little stuff. It's not big stuff. It's little stuff. But it's got to be consistently executed. So I'm asking you to sit down with your company and just think through that and find little teeny things.
I love that idea.
Leaving that card, it's a little teeny thing, but here's what else it is. It's a huge thing, and it's hard. And here's why. Because that technician, that plumber that shows up, he's got to worry about the billing, and he's got to worry about the parts, and he's got to worry about the repair itself, and he's got to worry about putting the booties on. Now he's got to make sure he's got a drop cloth, and it's just one more thing. It seems like a little thing, but it's in reality, it's one more. It's one out of 39 things this guy's got to worry about. So I want to acknowledge that it's not super easy just because it's easy, but these are things that you can work towards, okay?
Yes.
Okay, anyway, I've spoken enough, I think.
I think it's great.
Okay, thanks, Stephanie. As usual.
Now, can I just hang up the phone and still listen through the computer now?
What's that?
Can I hang up the phone and then listen just through the computer now?
Yeah, well, what I'm going to do is I'm going to mute you, and then you can do whatever you want because it won't affect me.
Okay, because I want to hear about the new mover.
Okay, great. Thanks.
Thanks. Thank you. Bye.
Okay. Yeah, we're going to talk about new movers. And I've got a few customers on here, Dave, Nick, Renee, that we're going to talk about this for a minute. So let's talk about it. First of all, let me pause sharing my screen and let me pull a few stuffs up here. Hang on. Bear with me while I find a couple stuffs. All right, here we go. All right, new movers. movers. There we go. All right. I'm just pulling up a little PowerPoint here. We're going to go through this real quick. All right. Intelligent mailing number 5. Nah, that's not what I'm trying to do. Hang on. Technology is my enemy. All right. Now technology is my friend. New move-ins. Okay, so here's what we want to do for new movers. For new movers, we want to, well, first of all, let's think about new movers. Before we start doing anything, I'm going to get rid of that so you think instead of look. Let's think about new movers. So the idea here, particularly as it relates to remodeling companies, is new movers are likely to want to do something with their house, okay? And we've got stats. I don't have them handy, but the stats say that there's a huge percentage of home improvement projects that are done within the first 12 to 18 months of people moving into a new house. The reality is people move in, and frequently it's not exactly the way they wanted it to. I had a discussion with one of our customers who is a closet organization customer. It's not the ones that I'm going to show you some examples for here in just a second, but these are guys out of Memphis, and we were talking about new movers, and they said, you know what, now that you mention it, we noticed that a lot of our customers for closet organization are people that have recently moved into a new house, and they don't like the closets. They want them to be organized better, or they want to be able to put more stuff into a smaller space via organization. And I said, yeah, do you think it might make sense to reach out to those people to proactively solicit that business? Now, this, like anything else, has to be done in the spirit of testing and trying some things out and seeing what works for you versus what doesn't work for you. But let's just take a quick look at it. So new move-ins, and what we want to do is we want to do a couple of things with these postcards. We want to gear the message towards the fact that they've recently moved in. So take a look at this, and you can't because, oh yeah, you can. I'm showing my screen. Have a new home but not enough closet space. We could make your closet hold twice as much or more and look 10 times better. Let us show you a virtual makeover, how closet. It only takes about an hour, and it is absolutely free. No need to dream about a better closet. We can show you, show it to you right now. Okay, so the idea here is we want to speak directly to the issue of you've just moved in, and therefore you might have an interest in this particular product or service. In this case, it's closet organization. Did the closets in your new home look bigger before you moved in? Here's an inexpensive way to fit all your clothes. Okay, eliminate the clutter, professionally designed and installed closet. Okay, and then we've got some offers there that we can give them. Happy to be moved in, but sad that your closets are too small. And if you look at this just from the standpoint of the front of the postcard, it doesn't even have a picture of a closet in this case, but it's specific to the idea of, hey, you just moved. Relax, we can install a professional organizing system in your house in less than 4 hours. All the cutting, building, mess, and mess happens in our factory. Building it in your closet is fast, easy, and mess-free. So there's some identity points that are happening there, okay? And, of course, the offers. Just some different versions of this, struggling to fit all of your stuff in your new closets. For Stephanie, I know you sell roofing, siding, windows, you know, so we could have a similar theme for those. Did you move into your windows, but have you just moved in to discover that your windows don't operate easily, or that your windows are not up to snuff, or are your energy bills higher than you thought you would be? It could be your windows or siding. You know, have you moved into a new house and you know, want to update the siding? We can have those kinds of comments. Now, ideally what we're going to do here is we're going to have a 3-postcard series. And this is going to mirror kind of how we do the proximity marketing, where we have in proximity marketing, we have a job site sign and a take one flyer. Those things don't work and aren't relevant in new movers. So with new movers, we typically want to hit them with 3 postcards and then a check mailer, and then the key here is the door knocker. Now this is a little bit harder to do, but the door knocker is going to literally take a list of the new movers, and unlike proximity where you can literally walk down the street and knock every door, they're going to have to go and drive around to all these different houses all over town. So I would recommend that you get some sort of a planning software plug all the addresses in and create a route that allows you to find these houses relatively quickly and easily. But it is going to take some time and effort to do it because they're all over the place. But here's the interesting thing. Here's what we know. And Stephanie, this is why earlier when you said, well, should I not have my guy call after we send the 10s? I said, no. Have him call, because it's only going to help. When you put people in an environment where they have to deal with you, either via phone or via knocking on their door, and I like knocking on their door for proximity, and I like knocking on their door for new movers, it forces them to deal with you. And not because, oh, well, we're trying to force people to do something. It's because it's easy to not take action when you've got a lot of things on your mind. Like, for instance, when you've recently moved in. So they can get your mailer, they can say, yeah, this is good, they can put it aside, or they can throw it away and think, yeah, I need to do that. But to get them to take action, frequently I found, when you just put yourself in front of people's faces, they tend to buy. I mean, think about the free sample guy at Costco. And when you go by and you see this free sample, you try it, you're more likely to buy it. That's why they do these samples, because they know that people are going to buy that stuff. And it's the same stuff that's sitting in the refrigerator or the freezer that you walked right past without paying any attention to it. But now that the guy stuck it in your face and said, open your pie hole, and shoved it in there, boom. Now you're more likely to say, oh, okay, well, I'm going to take some action, and you actually buy the stuff. So the door knocker just puts it in their hands. So here's what we want to see in terms of the mailers. We want to see at least 1 to 2 mailers that are very heavily, hey, you just moved in, and therefore you might need this specific service. Now, in the case of somebody like Stephanie, where you've got multiple services, not just closet organization like we're talking here on the screen, you might want to say, hey, do you have a need for this, this, or this? Those are things that we can help out with. We also want to have a heavy identity piece so that they see, hey, we've got, identity, and we might want to have a piece on the product. Here's the reasons why you should replace your windows. But I'm going to probably focus more heavily, if we've only got 3 postcards, probably 2 that are very heavy on, hey, you just moved in, 1 that is more heavy on, hey, here's our identity, but we can mix these concepts among the 3 pieces. So, hey, you just moved in, you might need these things, here's why people do business with us, could be part of that on the back. On the postcard that is more heavily identity, we might mention on the back, hey, you just moved in. We do want to mention, hey, you just moved in, because it's recent and it's relevant to this conversation, okay? Just realize your stuff's not going to fit in your master closet. These are just several examples of the, hey, you just moved in ones. Looks like you've handled almost everything. Install closet organizer. And then we've got some check mailers that are similar to the postcards that we just saw. $250 off. Happy to be moved in, but sad that your closet's too small. The reason we send the check mailer is not that the messaging is particularly a lot different, but it's just a different format that might catch their attention, okay? So this gives you an idea of what it looks like. Okay, that's all the examples I have there. We can talk about this without showing you some further examples. So let's review. We've got 3 postcard mailers. We've got the check mailer. The next thing that we want to do is probably create a big bill. And the reason we want the big bill is because when we knock on their door, it's a great way to interrupt them, to break the ice, to have a conversation with them. Also, we can tape it to their door in the event that they are not home. And then we can come back later ostensibly and try again, and if they're not there again, we can leave another bill. I would probably modify that bill from other big bills specifically for the new mover, although for the sake of efficiency, it's not 100% mandatory. You can use your normal big bill that you would use for regular canvassing or home shows, okay? The amount of the bill would likely want to be the same as you've offered on the check and on the postcards as your offer. In this case, it's $250. It doesn't have to be $250. It needs to be commensurate with whatever discount you want to give that works with your margins and your price drops and so forth, okay? So when we knock on the door, it's the same as a canvassing approach with just a little bit different twist. When they open the door, we say, hey, we'd like to give you $250. We'd like to give you $500. That breaks the ice. They look at the big bill. They say, hey, wow, that's different and interesting. It takes their mind off the fact that they're trying as desperately to get you off their freaking doorstep. And then the script is modified from the regular canvassing script just to mention the fact that, hey, we know that you just moved into this area, and as a new mover, we know that there might be some things that you need done with your house. You might need a closet organizer, roofing, siding, whatever it is that you happen to sell. Let me ask you this. If you had $250 to apply to a closet organizer, is that something that you think would be more suitable for your master bedroom or one of your kids' bedrooms? Do you think that would be something you'd want to use on windows, siding, or doors? And you try to get them into a conversation. Which of these products do you think best suits what you need? Well, I think it's windows. And then you go into the qualification questions on windows. Oh, really? So are the windows original to this house? Do you know how long the windows have been here? How old is the house? Have you had enough energy bills yet to know if you think they're high or not? Have you had anybody come out and take a look? Are there problems with the way they operate? Do you have any foggy windows? Any other problems with your windows? Have you even considered replacing them before? Have you had a contractor out to look at them? And we're just trying to get a conversation with them. At that point, they're really no different than any other canvassing prospect. We've just used a different intro, which is, hey, you're a mover, and as such, you might need some of these things. And then at that point, it's the exact same conversation that you would have on anybody else's door with them. So the elements here are the 3 postcards heavily geared towards the fact that you just moved and the identity, the check mailer that is just a reiteration of the same concepts, and then the canvassing is what's really going to make a difference there. Another thing you may want to consider with new movers, you may want to consider trying this with new movers. You may want to consider a longer-term mailing campaign. Now, again, you're going to have to understand your numbers and know if this is something that you want to bother with, because it does take effort and time to do this. But understand, new movers, their time frame for getting stuff done might be not immediate. It might not be immediate. I mean, think about it. You move in, you've got lots of things you've got to do. You've got to find, a new dentist, and you've got to figure out where to go grocery shopping, and you've got to get all the utilities hooked up. And then once you're established, you've got to deal with schools, and you've got to find your church, and you've got to get integrated into the PTA or what, if you got kids, sports, find music lessons, all these things that you have to figure out. And, there's just a lot of things to do. So they may not get their closet organizer right there at the top. It's something they want to do, but maybe it's just not something you want to do immediately. So you may want to test going a little bit longer, maybe as much as 6 months, and mailing them maybe every 2 weeks. Create maybe 6 or 8 different postcards and mail them every couple of weeks for 6 months or a year even, and see what happens, because I think there's an ability to be successful with that. Send out your canvasser. If you don't have success, maybe send your canvasser out again 6 months later if you've continued to mail. So there's some different options there, but that's kind of the idea on the new movers. So any questions on that? You can type them in if you like. And if not, I think we will be about done. Why not drop off a CSG to them, or work with a realtor to, I think you meant to say refer. Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely. I see that you love your new door knockers. Stephanie, I saw your email that those were messed up in shipping. Did we get that remedied already? Just give me a quick message on that. I hope the answer is yes. It should have been handled. Okay, good. Well, that's all we got time for today, so appreciate everybody participating, and let's see, I don't know if we've got a call next week or not. I can't really remember. Let me go to my calendar and check. Friday, Monday, Wednesday. Nope, next week we are off. May 28th, we've got a Tuesday morning ad clinic. So we'll talk to you then. Thanks so much for participating. We'll talk to you then. Bye now.